Welcome to another installment of TFA Today. This is another installment of TFA Today. We have with us Representative Monty Fritts. Can you tell us what your district is and the committee assignments that you have?
Hey, Richard, thank you for having me. I am in House District 32. I am on criminal full, criminal sub, ag full, ag sub, and ed admin.
What are your thoughts regarding the need for the special session that Governor Lee has demanded?
I am in great opposition to this special session, Richard, for various reasons. My first reason is it seems to be a capitulation to the Marxist. And I know that sounds like strong language, but we have a group of people that are pushing to destroy all of our rights, not only the right to keep and bear. And I think that again, to use that word again, that $2 word, any capitulation to those folks just empowers that movement in our nation. And if people don't think that that's a unified movement across the United States, they're not awake. It is. These people will do anything to disarm us. And so that leads me into my second concern, Richard. We're going to find ourselves, if this session is called and if we meet on August 21st, we're going to find ourselves as being probably the only state legislature in session at that time. And every freedom-hating liberal across the United States that's funded by people like Nancy Pelosi, we have some in our own state that are funded by Pelosi, but they're funded by people like Pelosi and Soros. They're going to descend here. And to those people, you and I both know the end justifies any means. And I think that we're going to bring a great dark cloud on the city of Nashville and the state of Tennessee by doing this. And I hope that we'll change our mind.
At this time, what are your thoughts regarding the red flag law or extreme risk protection order that Governor Lee is seeking, which allows the government to seize guns from individuals who presently can legally own and possess them?
I think our Constitution is very clear. And I think whether you look at the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, or our Tennessee Constitution, Article 1 and Section 26, our right to keep and bear arms is clear. And bearing arms means to carry them. I think that we often miss the great data set that suggests that these shootings that we have in different places in our country occur in gun-free zones. Yet we continue to establish those gun-free zones. I heard someone speak this weekend, and this was a Democrat, actually, a lifelong Democrat. He made the assertion, he's a little bit older than me, he said, the guns have been around forever. He said something else has changed in America, and he talks about mental health. He talks about video games and movies and just a general purveyance of evil in our society. But we have had the guns for long. And to just go and attack Tennesseans' right to own, possess, keep, carry, whatever, a firearm is unconscionable as far as I'm concerned. Mental health is an issue in our state. I hear it from all the police officers that I work for in my district. It is an issue. But I find myself with this question, is at what point of mental illness, if 29% of Tennesseans are suffering somewhere on a scale of mental illness from depression to anxiety to maybe even severe mental illness, at what point in time does that person forfeit all their rights? I think they don't. I think that our Constitution is pretty clear, and it always leans in a balance of favor toward the rights of the individual. And I think that things that we've grown up knowing, like innocent until proven guilty and reasonable suspicion and probable cause, we have developed those for a reason. And to abort those principles and decide that we can just strip someone of not only property, but their personal protection and their constitutional God-given right to protect themselves, I think is an unconscionable thing to do. So I guess you could say I'm against it.
What alternatives to a red flag or ERPO law do you think should be considered by the legislature?
So I think there are some opportunities to enforce the laws that we have on the books. I think there's some opportunities maybe to have entry conditions so that, currently we have laws that prosecute conspiracy to commit a crime. And certainly if someone's planning to do something evil to someone else, that is a conspiratory action. And perhaps there's some work to do in those areas, but to just simply assign we have a concern about someone and we're going to take their firearms from them is terrible. I'm a veteran. I think our veteran communities should be raising up significantly in opposition to this, because we have sent men and women all over this world to defend freedom. And then we bring them back home carrying the burden of what they've had to do. And we want to encourage them to get help. And we're doing that now. But under these ERPO and red flag laws, we're going to put them in quite a position that they've got a treatment of counseling or medication that might just subject them to being stripped of their Second Amendment right. I hope all my veteran friends in the DAV and the American Legion and the VFW are standing up in adamant opposition to these red flag and ERPO laws.
Do you have any other thoughts on these issues?
I think that we need to be moving in the other direction, Richard. I think we need to be moving in the direction of securing our rights. As Jefferson said, just after he talked about life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, he said, and to secure those rights, governments are instituted among men. And I think we need to move in that direction rather than infringing upon law-abiding citizens' rights. And it's an unfortunate thing that we are where we are today, that we live in a violent society, but we live in a godless society. When our streets are infested with profane people, encouraging not only perverse actions, but violence, I don't know what we would expect. When we just lived for 50 years and we've seen that it was okay to murder children in their mother's bellies, to assume that we wouldn't develop a violent culture out of that, it's just foolhardy. So I think we need to repent. I think we need to turn back to the Lord and seek his face and his blessing on our nation. It's not the guns. They're often used by violent people, but it's that violent heart of man that we need to address, and we need to pray for this nation.
Representative, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on so that our membership can hear what the various legislators who actually have an opportunity to do something about the special session if it comes to fruition. So I thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to speaking to you in the future.
Thank you, Richard.
If you learned something today that was beneficial, hit the like and subscribe button. It helps get our message out and sell the brand. Check back for more content as often as you can. You can find our website at www.tennesseefirearms.com. If you are new there, click the subscribe button on that page as well to receive free email updates about issues that affect your Second Amendment rights in Tennessee.